No, thank you. Oh, I think I have. Perfect. Oh. You ready? We are. Okay, I would like to call the October 9th, 2025 Council on Aging work session to order. Kathy, I'm gonna let you take it over. Oh, we can shut that. Is it okay with the rest of it? Yeah, we can shut that. You know, before you start, I have to say something. When I got this, I got it in the mail. I think that was early. Than what I normally do. But when I read that, it gives me chills for how long we've been working on the projects and the bluff and everything. And then seeing that we got capital projects. Granted, it's not gonna happen next year, but it's happening. That's pretty cool.
So. What you have in front of you is fiscal year 25, which we're now in 26. And I apologize for something that we have moved this. If you look at fiscal year 25, the second thing that was moved down. So those should be bumped down further. So what I want to talk to you about is the council would like to know from the commissions what their idea, what different fiscal or what different capital projects you would like to see. And part of that is going to be based on me telling you and bringing to you things that we need done and worked on. But before we even bring up anything, come on in, Barb. But thought you'd go through before we add anything new to this project. I'd like to get you I'd like to update you on what's happening. The roof repair did get funded in fiscal year 2025. It did get funded, so it hasn't happened yet. But remember that capital project is anything 35,000 and over that has to go out for bids. And the roof repair, even though it was funded last year, there is 50,000 sitting in the capital project fund that it will happen. Now, hopefully it will happen this winter or this fall and winter. The design plan, my understanding is it's going out for design. So it shouldn't be, we did put it on the fiscal year 25. That's what was funded that year. It doesn't mean that it was accomplished that year. Okay, and then you see the senior center landscaping project phase 1 was one, and then we moved the next one to fiscal year 26. I believe we had moved those to fiscal year 26 and 27. And we just want to keep those hanging out there because what I'd like to see in fiscal year 26, actually fiscal year 27, because we are in fiscal year 26, is that we get a design phase, which would be the first part of the project. We would have a landscaper come in and talk to us about the backyard. We had the concepts were when we had brought this forward many years ago, when Rachel and I had brought it forward, we kept moving it based on the bluff erosion project. The bluff erosion project is completed. So we still don't know to what level of backyard we'll have. You know, they don't anticipate it'll come this far, but we'll still have some erosion. The bluff will stable off. You know, I would guesstimate 10 to 20 feet at some point. But it'll be interesting through this winter with all the winter storms we get, what that looks like. So in order to start a landscape project, we have to have an idea of what we want to have. And there are some designers that we could call in. Bob Brady's with Parks and Rec used one specifically out of Soldotna for a while. We had thought about bringing her in years ago, but we knew the Bluff project was coming and it seemed too far to try to get that done before the Bluff project was finished. So we didn't want to disturb the ground out there any more than it was going to be disturbed. So one of the ideas was to put pathways through the back lawn and benches for people to have memorial shrubs and trees. And I would really like to see if we push this forward to 27, which starts July of next year. That part of that is bringing it to have a landscaper come in and give us some ideas of what we could do, what that would look like. And so that's one thought. We do need to, phase 1 and phase 2 needs to keep pushing it. So back, Jason.
So are there specific tasks that are already set out in this?
There are not. There are not. And then to put it in, it has already been accepted as far as the city saying it is on our horizon. It's on our horizon. So does that mean it's been funded? I would imagine we're going to need some sort of grants to start that project. We would need to go after, and there are some that we could do. Just the design phase alone, I would guess would be a good $5,000. So that's where those currently are sitting. Anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, that's just the lilacs.
It's just to the lilacs. This does not touch Vintage Point whatsoever. Vintage Point, that's a whole ball of can of worms on its own. So next month, what I would bring before you is the Senior Center Landscape Phase 1 for fiscal year 27, because this is what council will be voting on, and then Phase 2 for fiscal year 28. So that's what it will look like next month. And that's what we have to have approved in a meeting. So consequently, we have a work session today so that we can have the meeting next month and approve those. So another new issue that we have is our doors. And I had a conversation with our building maintenance head yesterday. And the city matter of fact, the building inspector will be by tomorrow, because he and I brought up the issue and I proposed it to the city attorney, and he referred me back to Public Works. That's the building inspector will be coming tomorrow. So about 80% of our building, 75 to 80% of our building is ADA accessible. We've got a bathroom stall that's ADA. The front doors, for a long time, we didn't have those ADA doors, and we worked really hard to get them. We have, for tenants who live at Vintage Point, there is an ADA accessible door that opens up, comes down from the ramp, and it comes in. What we do not have is internal doors and exit doors that are ADA compatible or ADA accessible, meaning, and we see this a lot in the bathroom. We see, I'll be blunt, when you're sitting and eating and dining, we would rather not have certain smells coming this direction. So we try to keep the doors closed. But if you have a walker or a wheelchair, it's not easy to get in with that, and so we discussed, one of the things that we have discussed is putting automatic doors, or it would be an electric button that would, you'd be able to do that. That isn't an automatic door. This one isn't a handicap door. So, and those are emergency exits. So the doors into the craft room from coming through. So you have anybody with ADA issues going into the craft room, it's a narrow, and it's also narrow coming out of the game room this way. So our question to the city attorney was, is there a liability issue there? Because we do not have ADA compatible, ADA accessible. So they're referring us back to, because we do get Older Americans Act funding. And so there are certain conditions, especially if we were to put new things in, remodeling or new building, everything has to be up to code for ADA. So working on that answer, but in the meantime, that is a capital project that I would like to see move forward. And I would like to see that move forward. I'd like to bring it to you for fiscal year 27. I absolutely imagine it will be over 35,000 because before COVID, I got a bid on those doors replacement, and I think we were already at 18. And so everything's pretty much doubled since then. So it would put handicap accessible features on the bathroom doors, a button on the in and out that the door would automatically swing. And then it would put on what the building inspector deems, for instance, on the outside doors, or do we need to replace the whole door system going into the game room and things. So that is a big project. We don't know yet if how quickly that would move in based on what they determine as liability on our behalf and liability on the city's behalf. And Carmel did raise a really good point. You know, he said, you have somebody come in, you know, would they be able to, under the Older Americans Act, or I don't know what that, I can't think of what act that is for ADA. They're probably handicapped. So anyway, that having ADA accessible, because our building is primarily for 60 and older is what we have. So that would be what I would write up as the door project for making our building ADA compliant for entrances and exits and bathroom. That would also include new front doors, and we're working to eliminate the locking. The lockage, and we still deal with the locking thing. We now do a really good job of the screwdriver, so it works. But it's expensive.
Is this something you're going to find additional funding for?
No, this one, because it is building, it is the actual building. What is, if it is approved by council, it will come out of city general fund. So because this, the building is still owned by the city of Kenai. So the back lawn project, that is something that's more on a wish list sort of a thing. So we would probably look for grants for that. Now, if a grant came up for capital projects that we could put in, especially ADA capital projects, you know, we might be able to find something. And I would definitely be good to experiment. I mean, to do some an experiment, but
Exploration.
thank you. That's what I'm looking for. So that one I would like to add to fiscal year 27. I'd really like some feedback on that, if you have anything to share.
Yeah. What overdue?
We're just thinking about the airports, and we don't need a door on the restrooms. Would be really neat if we had enough space to do that kind of setup, where you wouldn't have a door. You just have a central entrance, and then go one way and one go the other way. But we just don't have the space. We don't have the space to do that. I guess it
Like
would
the
be
airports.
impossible
Like your,
to do without a door. But it's often propped open, and it makes it so much easier for people. Even if they're not in a wheelchair, you know, to maneuver the door and try to, if you're using a cane,
Right.
it's hard to hold doors and,
But with this, just a button, right? And then the door.
Right, and if, you know, if it comes down to it, the two things that I see are our greatest issue is front doors and the doors in the bathrooms. You know, we can make it work, although if you're in a wheelchair or you're in a walker, your hands are on the outside of that walker. And you only have, you know, there's what those doors maybe 32 at the, maybe 36 at the most.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of room to get through there. So all you have to do is try to push someone in a wheelchair to go through there and you'll find out. Yeah. Red, do you have anything else on the issue? Okay, that was, I believe, for special projects, which are $34,999 and less. For special projects this next year, we're going to ask for new workstations for David, and this, we've been using those stainless steel ones for years in the drawers. The shop has fixed them. The metal is real thin, so we're going to add for those to be fixed. That's going to be under 35,000, so it will be added to our budget that we introduced for fiscal year 27. And it's usually buildings or the public works director and the finance director and the city manager who finally approve those. But are there other things as you use the building? Things that you have thought of that you see as maybe we put it on a long-term projection, or that you think we should address immediately? Are some issues.
Well, personally, because I'm thinking about living in a Vintage Point at some point, is I would like to see carports over in that parking lot. So I don't have to shovel my car off when I get moved in, but.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
I'd say it's kind of a selfish thing.
No, it's been on a wish list for a long time.
Oh, really?
Or maybe security cameras out there as well. Security cameras this time.
For the senior center.
Well, for all the doors and for the parking lot.
We did have a hit and run at Vintage Point. So that was one thing that police department did ask if you had security cameras, and we don't, but then something to consider.
In supporting the exercise program, I know they store their stuff in the closet. I don't know whether that's adequate or not.
What's your closet?
Oh, they're, wait, isn't it? Don't they still do that?
They do that, and you know, I'll jump in. The exercise program has grown so much, you need more space.
Yeah.
And you know, granted, adult council is gonna grant that, but we need to start planting the seed that, you know, what do we do? Make more space so people can exercise
More frequency.
and more frequently. Yeah, or more.
Let me ask you a question. What if they extended part that's not rug? Would that help or would that not be a good solution? You know what I'm saying? Take the rug out and just move the area this way.
I think part of it, at least for me, when I've exercised, and there hasn't been a whole lot down there, but because we have two exercise groups
Yes.
and we have so many, which is an awesome
Right.
thing. You'd almost need to get rid of tables so that you have more space to actually make everybody feel included, because if you're back here, which we've been, you can't hear Barb, and it really helps to have Barb direct the exercise and have somebody. I mean, when Barb was in here one day, they had, and thank goodness they were doing it, but one senior was on that side of the half circle and one was on the other, and if you're back here, you can't see kids or hear.
And then you get Christmas decoration.
Decoration
out of the too.
So
Yeah.
like a really an exercise area.
Yeah,
Well, if a new vantage point is ever to be built, it would be, it would be a conference area utilized for that. So, I agree, we're. Anything else, Rach?
I don't know, I guess I would add too, if there was adequate space. I know there's people that don't come and exercise because they don't believe that they can properly do the exercises, and if they're not done right, because you really can't see or hear, and people could in retrospect be injured somehow. I wonder why or how that all could happen, but they had the right wrong size weights, I guess they could. At heavier weight, they shouldn't be. Oh,
We did split the, sorry. I keep talking like this with someone called.
911.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
We did split the class.
I can understand why.
We did split the class because it was. One day I looked up in their suit packing collections. It was great, it was wonderful, but you build it, they will come. And that's what, when Rach and I looked at expanding in 2000, we had talked about this in even in 17 and 18. About expanding that dance floor, we had that old dance floor out there. And so, the reason we don't have more and put more carpeting in here is because look at where that ceiling goes up. And it's a sound issue. So we have a big issue with it in the other room. Just the tile flooring, when we did the tile floor and got rid of the carpeting that went through the whole thing, the bridge players have an issue. Pinochle players, and bridge is real quiet, and so they can't hear because of the issue. So that was one of the issues. We didn't do all tiles on this whole floor.
I wonder why.
But we could move on down to the craft room.
Yes.
I mean, we may do with what we have, but. I think we're getting enough activity. Could use a bigger area. To actually do the project. I mean, that be on the wish list, we can. Make do.
We have to talk meeting. Encourage council, but maybe we need to start putting bug in council ears that we do need a bigger. Senior center to accommodate our people as well as our senior. What do we do? Where do we go? We cross the road.
Well, they signed something in January of 26 and they do the defense, the letter of commitment for the funding for that project out north. Last little, once again, we natural resource money. So, and that may be the time, you know, to look at something like that. So.
This may be related. I noticed that Dr. Zerl. Is signed down, doesn't look like anything's going on there. Has he moved out of there?
She's still there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's still there.
Senior Center, Vintage Point has plans. They, not Vintage Point, Senior Connection, which is a nonprofit board, and they have money tied up with the city for the permanent funding. And have done well in their investments and supplement the senior center. 120,000 this last year. They also passed, were able to apply for the grant that we're looking for the Department of Transportation. Senior Connection will fund that. They'll do a match for it about time. You have to have 12% match. All that to say, the senior center was also gifted money from a local homesteader here, and it was about $720,000, and we put that in when asked. It can be swallowed up in 1 year, but swallowed up in one. And Mavis Cone, who's the one who originated that, she loved the senior center. And so, and it was specific in her will that it go to Kenai Senior Center. And so it did, and we, the council let us invest that in with the city's permanent fund, and it's already grown by 120,000. So it's really that amount of money. So when we would go do a big project, if you go after Rasmussen and say you want a such and such a $3 million bill grant for Rasmussen, you have to have natural funds. And that would be a great resource to use for natural funds down the road. So I am not sure that I would be here at that time, but it's up. I will be coming as a senior. Any other projects that you think are?
I don't really know that, I don't know if we have bands, but I don't know about our transportation program, if it's adequate or if it's, but that might be an area to look at.
So, the senior center puts in part of our budget. First of all, the city has a vehicle replacement fund. Has, about 10 years ago, it's about 8 years ago. It's been since you were born. So part of our budget every year goes into this vehicle replacement fund, and then whichever department needs replacement vehicles outside of the fire department, because there's a really expensive. But the police department goes through vehicles, and the senior center will go through vehicles. So all of us who have a transportation program or have vehicle program put funds in from our budget every year for that, and we have not purchased a vehicle in a long time. So we had quite a bit of money, I would say 60,000 sitting there. We needed to replace the 2 red vans, and it was time for them to go. And well, they're not gone yet. We're still utilizing them. We're down to 5 vehicles that we are able to have. And right now, before the white vans got here, we had 4 vehicles because we lost the Subaru. So we went, I think I told you last year, Red and I went for a DOT funding for 2 new big vans, thinking $250,000 will last for that. And we were basically laughed at. At the meeting, we found out how it's really done, and that it needs to be an ADA accessible van, or we won't. Which we went for what we really needed the most, which was to replace the red vans. So this year we are going for an ADA accessible vehicle. If we get the email that says that we can apply for it, we put in our letter of intent. Senior Connection has allowed us, has said, yes, we'll match the grant when it comes to funding. And so a year from now, that would be hopefully a look at what's the vehicle. Chrysler. Chrysler something.
I remembered it earlier.
It has a back ramp that the hand can come out, the handicap, the wheelchair client would go up and be able to be strapped, their wheelchair strapped down in there. They would also have a bench seat and a seat in front. I mentioned Velda, who's on Senior Connection, who helped vote for that. I asked her when the last time she went to a no-host dinner. It's been a while because we don't have the capacity to transport. Right, so we're looking at one of that. In the meantime, the city went ahead and funded 2 15-passenger vans for us, which was about $150,000. So they added a good $100,000 to that. And we have the second one will be coming. It's here. It's just not here. We'll be parked out in front of Vintage Point. We'll have those out all winter, and the red vans are being utilized. One of them will be utilized for Meals on Wheels, but in our vehicle replacement fund, we will be replacing Meals on Wheels vans this year too. So we're very thankful to be part of the city. It makes a huge difference. You don't see that. The last thing too, one more thing is the computer lab room. And I think this is a good thing to bring up in a work session. So we're looking at 1980s design in there, and it is not a functional room for us. It is not to its full capacity functioning. The city knows the HVAC system in here would be better controls. That room is so hot all the time and noisy. And they understand that that's already been funded in capital projects and it's just hasn't been procured yet. So last in special projects, which is under 35,000 for this year's budget, I was going to have the room repainted, curtains replaced with blinds, the carpet taken out and have vinyl tile in there. And the thought was that we have 5 original Boyd Schaefer prints. And he was the professor at UVA, the Kenai campus over here in the 80s and 90s and taught so many people around here how to paint. And we were given 5 and they're set aside. And to have that, we don't need all of the computers that are in there. They're not utilized. We have laptops that people can use. We do it for Social Security, for a secure and there twice a month. But that we would, the crafters would be able to utilize those tables and have painting and have you be able to paint in there and things that, even with storage, things that in the craft room and kind of blend over, but it would also be a small meeting room. So it'd be still the multi-purpose room, but have it now. So I had put thinking that I would go after a $25,000 grant from Rasmussen this year. And the city did fund it pending the fact that I went to this grant. Well, the Brown Bear project at the airport with the sculptures, they put in Florida Headwood. And if they accepted it, only 1 grant for a city per year. And so I said, absolutely, that's we're not ready to, we can put this on the back burner for next year. So with the cost of everything going up, I anticipate that project to be more than 35,000. And so we need to, this is the time to talk about what that room could be utilized for. What we used to be council on aging in there, and then it got a little cramped and it was hot. And so does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think it depends on taking care of heating issues. And I don't think you can design anything and you can really make it a room. It could be room stand to be hit. Not time.
Okay,
If the table, what is the square footage of that room? Maybe it could be used for small group exercise, maybe.
But I was gonna
Without
say,
a carpet.
wondering if you could use.
Because when you think about how much room that table takes up, well, you don't need that huge table in there.
Those tables fold up, don't they?
Oh, they're folded up there. I haven't been in there in so long.
You could use it for chair yoga and then you could use it for Tai Chi.
You could, yes, right? It would be big enough for hiking.
We gain by playing. And even if your crafts, if you had movable tables that could,
fold it
maybe,
easily.
yeah,
Black
kind of shelving and stuff that things could be put away and hauled
a
out
TV.
for different things, yeah.
For learning sessions, you could have a TV in there.
So do you have laptops for people that don't have computers to come in? So do they go anywhere in the center that they want to go? Tablets as well.
So they just use them in the center.
They could come, they can use, that would relieve that.
there, I believe there's freezeware on it too, so we can't add or change again.
But even if they didn't, we could put that on, you can't put it on all those computers in that lab anymore. We just have everything put on the
Right.
laptops, right?
And I know at one time there was a printer in there and obviously there's issues with it. I don't know the details, but
There were multiple issues.
okay.
And
So it from a practical standpoint, it's probably not, you probably can't do that.
well, we have it in, actually, we had the printer taken out. Senior Connection sponsored that printer. They bought it, it's $100 per cartridge to fill it. And we did put in a 10 cents a page copy thing, fill it. And it was funny how there's a lot of copies put off, but the change jar always was empty. And then, so, we took paper out of it, and people would have to come in and get 10 cents to pay, so we tried all sorts of things. So then we had them, IT came in, and if you want to print in the computer lab, then you print to the Biz Hub. And it's 10 cents, I think, for black and white and 25 for color. And the way to get that is through the receptionist. So it's amazing. We go through very little paper. And people will, and there are some legitimate issues when folks know, and if we know that they're back, and maybe, they just have an old computer at home and they can't use it anymore, they'll come in and use that. And if it's a legitimate issue, they'll email it to Red or I, and we will print it for them. So we are very generous where that's concerned, but and especially casework. We're doing casework for people, things, we don't charge them. So
we do have arrangements.
we do have very
That it's
workable
inappropriate.
arrangements. Yes, very much so. And, it is, you don't see people going in there and sitting and playing card games like we used to. So smartphones have taken an edge off of that, and so play about any game you want to on a smartphone. So back to what you were saying, Kit, I hadn't really thought that the heat thing was that much of an issue.
Yeah.
So do you think, I would love to know if we put this on a back burner then for that room until we get the heat issue resolved?
I mean, the craft room, same issue, we have that issue in there too. Fortunately, the windows,
Right.
the windows and the door,
Right.
and really make it so you can work in it.
So, and I'd have to go back and look because I can't visualize it.
Yeah.
So the wall where the craft room is. Or that's not an outside wall. Is that a wall into that room
The far wall where the sink is,
is that where the cabinets are, the new cabinets are?
Yes, where that doorway used to go into Vintage Point. Didn't remember you. Before the Bell Geller hallway was built, right? It was her idea.
I was thinking there's no way to extend that and put a accordion door there, is there? So you could have it to open it up
Or accordion.
Now by the cupboards.
by the cupboards
Yeah.
there, right?
Cupboards.
Yeah,
We
okay.
could, we could change that.
That's it.
So,
cupboards, which cupboards?
I have to go back and look
There are a lot of cupboards.
on that far
On the
wall.
inner side.
On the floor wall, are you on the far wall, are you talking about the wall with the sink?
no,
No, I'm thinking the wall on the other side of the door that goes into Vintage Point. Is that just a blank wall? Are there cupboards there? There's cupboards on the other side.
There's cupboards in there.
Oh, there's cupboards here and there's
Yeah,
cupboards.
there's
by the
cupboards
door.
On all of
Some,
them. So, the, computer or next to,
because you need the cupboards.
do need.
You need the space.
we've been trying to expand the craft room by utilizing that room. Vintage Point is having we're going to have the ramp looked at this year. Those who live there, when you come down, there's that hump and it happens every fall and spring. And so that would be the time, to remodel that whole thing.
But could you expand that out? We talked about that a long time ago.
We did talk.
About Springer was there.
So. For an engineer. So maybe the thing to do is not to put it on fiscal year 27, and that we get we can talk to Public Works and say, here's the issues that we're having. And we are, you know, when, for instance, exercise was never the big thing. Things changed. It was, computers were never the big thing. And so right now, crafts and quilting, painting, doing things in our craft room, that's a big thing. Exercise is a big thing. So we've had to remodel and adjust accordingly. So, look at our library and the way the library is going. So I think it is, I think it's worth, this is a good group to do the getting by the basics for it. And how do we get with the city would have. First thing we do is get public things. That look at that building and say, here's our issues. How can we remodel the space to get the best use out of what we need? Not worrying about 10, right? So if this is a plan that we want to maybe bring forward a year from now, maybe we'll have a better handle, an idea.
Say that again, corn, that corn, again, same thing.
The corner,
Where you come out of the hall
mhm,
into the
craft room.
craft room, in that little hall, then up, cranking around up the stairs. Is that what you're talking about? It's kind of dangerous.
Seems like it doesn't.
You have to really, I know about it. It's pretty good. I know how to treat it, but there's a lot of people that don't. And there's a lot of people I see coming down from stairs, upstairs at lunch that have a problem getting down because they were heavy. So I'd be more cautious.
Is this Larry and a vintage point component?
It is a rarely used finish point component.
Not necessarily anymore. You've got two groups that are using it pretty regularly now.
Right, for the senior center, they're using.
Yes, but it's the same people are not using it.
We know it, senior center. And it's been talked about for quite a while, that they've been able to figure out internet, Rachel's office.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect, because it was hot, and she likes it.
It's cold too.
Yeah. She's seen us trying to share an office. I think it's cold in here. Rachel. Good time.
Yeah.
Anything, so you feel comfortable with putting that on the back burner for another year until we get more discussion on that. I'm comfortable doing that.
Yes, the one issue that I'd like to see resolved, just the heat problem.
Yeah.
But we can live with the rest.
Well, I think that, the craft, what has happened with the craft room, we used to have a budget item. That would be for craft supplies. I don't remember if we, $50 to $100 a month for craft supplies. That's all gone to food now, rice and food. So crafters make things and sell things, and then they anything they need for that craft room comes out of the crafters' money that they've done. That is a win-win.
That's amazing.
Amazing win-win. So when you look at, you know, the crafters can easily make $3,000 to $5,000 a year. Depends on how many times they have so it is a moneymaker for the center as well. And you're putting your money back into that. So that warrants taking some good. Bingo isn't necessarily a moneymaker, but it's right, but it brings people in too.
Yeah.
We all have our certain.
Kathy?
Yeah.
One more thing I want, coming out of the, of one room into the kitchen, not the kitchen,
Solarium.
yeah, going down. Into the activity,
The craft.
into the,
Paper.
out of the craft, into the, no, not into the craft room, coming up to the door there at the craft room and turning into the game, no, the hallway to
Okay,
go upstairs.
yes,
So, and you get in that room is very crowded with their broken when somebody's got to come in
that's true.
out of it.
That's true. That's a space issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's from somebody who, because not everybody just walks through there. Some
Well,
of you have really nice taxis that bring you down.
Right. I don't have to walk through there, but I've been real careful. Be careful to turn just right.
Right.
Be careful, don't hit somebody. Because with their sewing machines out there, and sometimes they're sitting behind there, you try to go into that room, you can't really get it without hitting somebody.
Right.
So
That's a good point, Melba. Really good point.
I don't mean to complain. I just
No complaints.
have
I see this.
have you noticed the problem with the door locking in place sometimes? It doesn't close. It'll start to close and then it stalls. And I was thinking, if that happened when somebody's going through with a wheelchair, that's gonna be a real problem. Because it just doesn't, it seems to lose its
That's not.
connection to the control. I got caught in the middle of it once I was walking. I was carrying a lot of things, but you know, it's kind of awkward. It is an awkward. corner.
The bad
Very
part of
awkward.
that, the bad part of that is you could have had somebody in emergency or your whatever, scooter and get tangled up.
Yeah.
And then there'd be two of you. in
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Was in a traffic pattern, if there was a fire issue of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, in a fire, that would definitely be it.
Not that we want to have that happen, but
So. If the computer room is used less, could you like swap with the craft room and the computer room and the computers in the craft room? And then there would not be packed people, because I've been in there trying to do crafts when people are trying to get to their house and stuff. And then put like some of those window frames in. the
you know what,
windows
I'm
in there.
thinking about a wall and just opening it up.
And
Opening it,
Before
that's-
you-
dot,
But
yeah.
I can't,
Till you
You're
get
staring
it.
at
I have to go back and look at it.
you would, they could go directly in to that
in the
room
room.
instead of going in the hallway.
There did
Get
used
some
to be a door
fans in.
there
Yeah.
by that
I have to go
cabinet
back
that's in
and
the
look.
hall.
Yeah.
It's still there.
A usable door.
And then when social security, you would just have that half a day, twice a month, that it would be,
And you could just.
have to be in a spot where people aren't coming and going.
But if you did that, couldn't you take social security and put it in the solarium if it only meets twice a month?
I don't know about solarium, because you have Joe Public going through Benton Point,
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
but,
You could close
but
those doors off.
changing the rooms, change rooms.
The issue is the access from Vintage Point.
That's true.
So you've got Vintage Point people coming through the
Gotcha.
hallway there, and so you would have to you have to screen it off or something. Yeah, and I'm not sure you're gonna get that much more space. That craft room is a big room with nothing in it, but you know, you would have to measure that. My thought is truthfully is to have an extension of that and to use it as a, you know, if you use the current craft room as a storage facility, cutting and everything, and you use the workspace and the classes and everything in the current computer room, you know, but you still would want, I don't know, we need some remodeling. We need to look at it. That computer lab, we always called it the green room because of the carpet was green. It's always the green room. And it used to be a room for woodworking. The plugins are on the floor and where the Belbert Geller hallway is right there. There used to be a chair storage thing. You walked in and it was all insulated because of the woodworking shop. And at some point, they decided they didn't like to see people's fingers cut anymore, so they got rid of that. Widows first in 1983, that's where it sort of started.
That'd be nice for a craft room. I mean,
Yeah.
plugs in the floor.
recommend the craft room. They're in the craft room that way already.
The washer and dryer craft room, it's a kitchen utilizes, which takes up a lot of space. So I think there's room to look at. There's room, there's, the other side of that craft room is if they push that wall out and right up, you'd lose that perennial bed there, but oh well. So I'm gonna move, then, you'll see bringing back, fiscal year 28. I'm not even gonna put it on the agenda. Then, but we'll put, it would be fiscal year 28 to look at, the craft room and the other, the game room as a remodel, what that would look like to get some better space.
Why not take 2 or 3 people and go in there and look at it real close?
Right.
Walk this wide.
Well, I'm taking you in there because you know what? All those years we're back there. We wanted to move the library. We're okay. We put it way into the library. Remember that? We're gonna, in the middle of the library, we're gonna take one of those bookshelves out and put a passageway right into that computer lab. And Felda goes, why don't you stick that closet out and make it shorter and put a door right there? What? That would be too easy, Felda. Because the door was already there. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's why we followed the bill together always.
See, I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe I've gotten in trouble. I forgot.
No, many kudos to you. Kudos.
Like you have good ideas.
She does have good
Yes,
ideas.
she does.
Does have good ideas. We couldn't believe it. We looked at that one. That's the thing to do.
Well, we was going out of this. Well,
The computer.
no, not that, would come out of the computer room, around into the, and wind up there, and back into the, what's that room, and to another person.
To get for social security, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you came up with a better plan.
I sure did.
Yeah.
I gotta, I gotta say yes because she's gonna beat me.
So,
I've been here a long time.
yes, you have. Anything else? Well, the craft room is oblong,
Third floor?
computer room is square.
No, it's about a third floor.
I'm estimating. I would be shocked if they're not about the same square footage. Just a different shape. It is.
These plans,
Yes.
that we can.
So October 22nd, we finished the borough. So we just mentioned something to you as seniors. My understanding is you could not go representing Council on Aging because of the Open Meetings Act. You are part of a government commission, and so you would have to go as individual seniors. Yeah, it would be sort of out of hand differently. Right. But this wouldn't be representing the Council on Aging. But we are going to, the grant that we're hoping to be able to get, or write for, has to have a government entity or, supported for it, which for us is the Kenai Peninsula Borough, because our area-wide transportation is within the Kenai Peninsula Borough. So the borough has set up a meeting, a public meeting, October 22nd at 4 p.m. And Red and I, what happened last year is we We went to this meeting, just Red and I representing the senior center. There was another person who was representing, one person representing independent living center, another person, I think they were there for bridges. And, there were 10 people there representing another organization, nonprofit, in our area. We didn't know, because we were new to the process, that all of a sudden they're gonna take a vote to this, which one of these entities would be first priority. And we had 2 people for the senior center, independent living had 1, we actually voted for it's there too, but anyway, and then this whole room was voting for this, and it was not a pleasant experience. We backed out because, we could see we're not asking for an 80 yard line. We're gonna be ready for them. So we just found out yesterday that October 22nd at 4 p.m. is a public meeting in the borough chambers. And they're going to, everybody who's writing a grant for this is going to present what they're writing for. And then that group, who's ever there, will vote on whether you set the priority. So remember, you would not be representing council on aging, just simply coming for the senior center. So
This is for transportation.
this is transportation. Oh, wait, here. So we're waiting on an email to say, yes, we've approved you being able to be put in a letter of intent. So DOT has to tell us whether we can write a grant for this or not. And it's about it. It's almost $90,000. That's all I have. Does anybody else have any comments or things they want to bring up? No.
Good to dream.
It is.
Feels like Friday today. It's only Thursday.
Yeah.
Did you say it's Friday?
Yeah. We're playing bridge on the second floor, right? Not down here. I don't know if you had a event here this weekend.
Any other comments? Not, I guess we're done.
I think just the vote is very important for that meeting, because it is a popularity.
I guess send an email to the Vintage Point people.
Probably would hurt. But it's the senior center trend moving, for the wheelchair vehicle that we're going after. So, and it's not to say that not all the projects could be funded, it's just they require them to get priority. Usually we vote for the independent living center to have first priority, and that's simply because their program, they are a fee for service. What they do is they ask the DOT for money to fund their vouchers that they sell for a very low price for seniors and people with disabilities. And they do 3, they do Seward, Homer, and the Maple Peninsula. So usually they're the first priority. It doesn't mean that all the project can't be funded, it's just however much DOT funnels to this place, they'll fund however many they can fund. And last year, the nonprofit that was going after funding was doing it for a project. That's why we were all not very happy.
So if we can't be there, can we write a letter and have them to show support?
Believe so, but I think you can, but it, the biggest thing is the vote.
The vote.
So I'll find out, you might be able to zoom in,
Oh, that'd be our point.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
you might be able to zoom in.
We'll get a reminder and email.
Yeah, we'll get a reminder, and I would, some of the statements. So I'll put out a reminder.
Okay.
Once we know, it's gonna be useless unless we're able to, to do this. So it's kind of premature that the borough has set this meeting. Because now DOT, everybody's waiting to hear from DOT. So if we don't hear by the 22nd, we don't know if we should be there or not. And I'm gonna be there with her. Yeah, it's, and that is because it has to go through the borough assembly, for them to take a vote that it's signed and passed and, that this is the, for this area, this is the, what am I looking for, the priority that's being set, so.
So are they still looking at mass transportation as far as? Or did they get rid of that?
Transportation, we just have not seen it. So what is it they were talking about? What's it
Is
called?
that a GIS?
Just whatever it is, where you can see the map of the peninsula and it shows you color coded wise who does what. And it looks like Denina has an entire regular route that we can't
Nobody
see.
knows anything about. And we were supposed to have the letter 15th of October, so.
Yeah, it's supposed to be linked into the borough's photographs, maps, so that you can go in and they're all color coded. So like everybody rides. All of the other entities are all different color coded. You're supposed to be able to click on it. It tells you what time this
And where to
entity is
go.
making that stop. And none of us have yet to be able to play with it and find out. So it would be interesting to know.
Is it functional?
Nope, we have not seen it. It's a work in progress. We got to see a photograph at the last meeting. But we haven't gotten a toy that we can touch and actually see the times.
So this is at the borough building,
If you're, borough chambers.
where's that?
Downstairs.
At the city of Kenai.
No,
So
So that's the lot number.
At the post office.
And we have two 15-passenger vans.
Yeah.
If we want to fill them up, we'll take them.
It's not at the city.
No,
It's a borough.
It's a
Oh, the
borough.
borough.
Yeah. And
It's
so I was
right
like,
at
wait a
the-
second, because that's what I was thinking, it was a city.
No, if I have enough people, I'm more than happy to drive the bus over.
Yeah. So we need, one lady I'd like to put in my car, bring her wheelchair and take her. One of this van that we're trying to get would be 4. Be able to wheel you all over the place.
Okay,
I'm ready to go.
20 seconds.
Yeah, because even if it's for wheelchair. Several of us could end up in one and we still need it, so.
My biggest struggle right this minute is one that's lower to the ground, so like Fran is, I've got meals drivers that are grabbing her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because we're using a meal van. She could come every day if we had a vehicle available all the time that was low enough for her to get into. She can't get up into those, and it's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
So
You know.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your input.